Hi vanakkam. Welcome to Vijay Speaks. In the video 12th standard கான assignment answers பார்க்க போறோம். இங்க prose, poetry and supplementary மூணுமே இருக்கு. So இப்போ first வந்து prose. முதல் word பாருங்க, slackenedக்கு meaning reduced and intrudeக்கு meaning enter without permission. அதே மாதிரி antonym dear அப்படினா ரொம்ப costly, so opposite is cheap. Humble, proud. அடுத்தது obey கான exact prefix வந்து disobey, manage, mismanage, annoy, annoyance, fever, feverish suffix போட்டுக்கலாம். stopped அப்படின்றதுக்கு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா drew on, drew off, drew in, drew up இருக்கு இல்லையா, ஸோ இதுக்கான ஆன்சர் drew up. ஏன்னா drew on to use, drew off to remove from something, and drew in to darken in the evening இல்லையா, அந்த டைம் தான் drew in சொல்லுவோம், and drew upனா தான் stopped. அதே மாதிரி அடுத்தது பாருங்கள், passed up அப்படின்னா to let go a chance. நமக்கு இங்கே became unconscious அப்படின்றது passed out, அண்ட் பாஸ் ஆன் தெரியும், பால் பாஸ் பண்ணுற மாதிரி மூவ் பண்ணுறது, அண்ட் பாஸ்ட் ஓவர்னால் சான்ஸ் கிடைக்காம போகிறதுக்கு தான் பாஸ்ட் ஓவர். இப்போ வெரி ஷார்ட் ஆன்சர்ஸ் பார்க்கலாம். Why was Nicola not pleased when Jacopo asked the narrator to drive them to Poleta? ஸோ இங்கே வந்து Nicola was not pleased when Jacopo asked the narrator to drive from Poleta because he did not want a stranger or a tourist to become involved with their plans, and they never asked for any favor கூட போட்டுக்கலாம் நீங்கள். Why did the author not speak to the boys on the return journey? Because he thought that the boys would prefer to keep it a secret. What was Lucia suffering from? Lucia was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. And change the direct speech into indirect form பாருங்க. The teacher asked the students how many of them had attended the Zoom class. ஸோ அங்கே மறக்காதீங்க, இந்த கொட்டேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்துடணும். அண்ட் கோபு ஆஸ்க்டு ராணி இஃப் ஷீ அட்டெண்டட் த ஜூம் கிளாஸ் ரெகுலர்லி. அண்ட் ஷார்ட் ஆன்சர்ஸ் பாருங்கள். தி அப்பியரன்ஸ் ஆஃப் நிக்கோலா அண்ட் யாக்கப்போ. ஒன் ஹேட் worn jersey and cut off khaki pants, the other an army tunic, tangled hair and skinny, and they had earnest eyes. What were the various jobs undertaken by the little boys? They shined shoes, sold fruits, hawked newspapers, guided tourists, and ran errands. How did the narrator help the boys on Sunday? The narrator helped the boys on Sunday by dropping them at Poleta in his own car. Describe the girl with whom the boys were talking in the cubicle. The girl with whom the boys were talking to in the cubicle was their sister. She was 20 years old. She was propped up on pillows and she was wearing a pretty lace jacket. Were the boys saving money to go to the States? No. The boys themselves admitted that they had other plans. And then you can write the summary of Two Gentlemen of Verona with your reference books. And now the letter writing. This is general letter. பாருங்க, கொரோனா பேஷண்ட்காக உங்கள் ஃப்ரெண்ட் அட்மிட் ஆயிருக்காங்க, அவங்களுக்கு நீங்கள் ஆறுதல் சொல்லணும். ஸோ முதல்ல மறக்கக்கூடாது, பிளேஸ் அண்ட் டேட் போட்டுட்ருக்கோம். மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட், ஹவ் ஆர் யூ? ஐ ஹர்ட் ஃப்ரம் யூ. சாரி, ஹவ் ஆர் யூ? I heard from your younger brother that you are admitted in the hospital for the treatment of corona. I feel very bad and sorry. I would like to advise you to have patience and complete the course of your treatment. Be confident and optimistic. Take hot water and kabasura kudineer. I shall meet you at the earliest after your quarantine period. In case of any help or financial support, please don't hesitate. Take care. Your loving friend XXX, and don't forget to write address on the envelope. And over to poetry, assignment The Castle. How did the soldiers spend the summer days? Relaxing. What was challenging? The height of the castle. What happened to the castle? It was captured. What does friendly allies mean? Supporting nation. Then what could the soldiers watch in the turret wall? The mowers. What is provender? Food. What is a citadel? Strong fort. Where was the enemy? Half a mile away. Treacherous as air. So as irkanala simile. Who was their real enemy? Gold. And now the short answers. Who is the narrator of the poem? One of the soldiers who is lodged in the castle. How long had the soldiers been in the castle? All through the summer. Why were the secret galleries bare? Because they were looted by their enemies. Load on load means plenty. Why couldn't the soldiers do anything? Because the castle was captured and all were arrested. What's a bait? A bait is something that is used to lure or trap. The old wizened warder received the bait. Short answers again. How were the soldiers and what was their firm belief? The soldiers were relaxed and free in the state of mind, and the castle was strong, and so no one could capture it. What is a wicket gate and why was the gate wicket? A small private gate is called a wicket gate, and the warder led the enemies through it, so it is a wicket here. Then, how did the enemies enter the castle? The enemies entered the castle through the wicket gate, giving gold. Who did the wicked thing? An old warder. What was the shameful act and why did the narrator want to tell the tale to anybody? Letting in enemies after getting gold is a shameful act because there was a traitor amongst them and they lost their castle without war, so they didn't want to tell the tale to anybody. Who had let the enemies in? The wizened old warder, and the citadel was lost without war. And then you have a detailed answer. Finally, the non-detailed assignment answers. God sees the truth but waits is written by Theo Tolstoy. 26 years Aksionov spent in Siberia. Ivan Dmitrich was a merchant in Vladimir, and the story takes the parable of forgiveness. Aksionov gave up his drinking and the merchant was murdered and robbed. Aksionov's wife stopped him from going to the fair. Makar Semyonich is a prisoner, and Makar Semyonich killed the merchant. The tunnel was made by Makar. What made Aksionov leave the inn before dawn? He was an early riser and he wanted to travel when the air was cool. What is the importance of Aksionov's wife's dream? She dreamt that he returned with grey hair, which is a bad omen. And what made Aksionov spend his life in jail? And the death of the merchant made him to spend his life in jail because he was falsely accused. And no, he was not released from imprisonment because he passed away before the order. And after hearing Aksionov's story, Makar behaved indifferently and he began to be evasive and aloof. So Aksionov thought that Makar was the real murderer. Finally, the short answers from non-detail. Write the consequences that led to Aksionov's imprisonment. When he left the inn at dawn, he was intercepted by the police. A bloodstained knife was found in his bag, so he was arrested. And then the next question is, did the police officer have sufficient evidence to convict Aksionov? Yes, the acquaintance on the previous night with the merchant and the blood-stained knife and the money were the evidences. What impact did the book Lives of Saints have on Aksionov? He became a very pious religious person and he sang in the choir too. Pick out the clues that convey Makar recognized Aksionov. Aksionov's face looked very familiar to Makar, and the story of the murder of the merchant made him very familiar. And why did Aksionov give up sending petitions? Realizing that his wife also suspected him, he gave up sending petitions to the Tsar. And so you can write the detailed answers by yourselves, and hope this video will be useful for you to complete the assignment. That's all for now. Bye bye. Stay safe and stay connected.